Hey everyone, how's it going? So we'll carry on with this now, and what we'll do is get rid of this return part right here, because we just added that last time just to do some testing. So I'll get rid of this, but what we'll put there instead is a variable declaration, so var repost equals, and we'll just set this to be deleted post. I'll explain why in a second, but just put that there for now. So essentially these two have got the same value. They both reference the object that was deleted. Well, if there was anything to delete, it would of course be null if there's nothing to delete. And then underneath that, we're going to check it. So we'll say if repost equals null, then what we're going to do is essentially add the post or create the post, because if repost is null and nothing was deleted, so we can go ahead and create the post, which is essentially creating the retweet. So what we'll do instead is say repost equals await post dot create. Now we're awaiting this and storing the result in repost so that we can use that in the next few lines. But anyway, this is creating the retweet itself. So repost equals await post dot create, and inside there we'll just put the data. Now most posts, if I go to the post schema, you'll see that posts have content, posted by and stuff pinned. Well, this is what I talked about way earlier on in the course when I said that content is not going to be a required field because of this scenario where in the case of when it's a retweet, there is no content. Instead, what we have is retweet data, and that kind of is the content. So that's why we won't be inserting some value into the content field in this case. So all we're going to do is just put posted by, and the value of this is going to be this user ID variable at the top, user ID, and then the last value we're going to insert is going to be repost data, and the value of that is just going to be post ID, because repost data, if you remember, is an object ID type which references the post itself. Okay, so this will now create that post. And if you want to, I can copy this catch block and just add it below, just so we're catching anything if it goes wrong. So at this point, repost definitely has a value, because if they were retweeting it, it means that there was nothing to delete, so repost was null here, and then because it was null there, we went ahead and created the post, which now means repost has a value. But if it did find a post to delete, repost contains that value anyway, so there was no need to do this. So we know that outside of this if statement, repost definitely has a value. Now at this point, this repost will either contain the post that we want to add to the user's list of retweets, or it's going to contain the retweet that we want to remove from the user list of retweets. So what we're going to do is update the user object. And of course, we want to store this in the session. And of course, we want to store this in the session as well. In fact, we have it down here. Let's just take this one. This is exactly what we want. So I'll just use this. So we're calling rec.session.user, and we're setting that because remember, we need to update the user that's stored in the session every time we make a change to it. And then we're saying await user find by ID and update. And the ID, of course, is user ID. Now, the only thing we need to change is this part here. We're not inserting into likes, of course. We're inserting into retweets. This one right here. So in the user schema, we have this retweets array, which is an array of all the posts that the user has retweeted. So let's put that in there instead. We're changing retweets, and it's not going to be post ID. It's going to be the ID of this repost, because the post ID contains the ID of the post that we're trying to retweet, but we want to add the actual retweet itself, which because it's a separate post, it has its own ID field. So we're going to change this to repost._ID. We're going to keep new as true, and that should be it. So this will either add the repost itself to the user's list of retweets, or it will remove it. Now remember, we have this option variable which we declared up here, and that's how we get the pull or add to set from that. So if the deleted post was not null, so if we did find a post that we deleted, we need to take it away from the user's list of retweets, whereas if it is null, we know there was no post to delete in the first place, which means the user's retweeting it, so we need to add it. And then all that's left to do is to update the post itself. So right down here, we've got some code that does that already. Let's just modify this. So we're going to find by ID, and we're going to find by post ID. That's good because this is the post that the user's trying to retweet, because what we're going to do here is add it to that post's list of users that have retweeted. So we're going to keep option like that. This isn't going to be likes, it's going to be retweet users, this one right here. Again, this is the array which contains all of the users that have retweeted it, and we're just going to add ourselves to that. So copy that, retweet users, and then update that there, and then it's going to be user ID, so you can leave that there as is, and that should be it. I think we're good to go on that. So let's give it a save and let's test that out. So I'm going to say npm start, and then it's going to do something weird on the output because we haven't handled the case when it's a retweet yet, so ignore the fact that it's going to look weird when we refresh the page. But let me just try and retweet. So I've pressed that, and this is the new post that we have, the retweeted post. Well, I don't think it's the new post. What is this? This is the this is the updated post. But if I go to retweet users, you can see ourselves in there. Now, if I get rid of it, if I click it again, it should hopefully remove me from the retweeted users. So if I click on that, expand it, retweet users, and we're still in there for some reason. Don't worry about that, we'll fix that. At least the retweet itself is working. We just need to fix the unretweet.